Yeah, hello and welcome to another Lightboard session. I'm Benny, the manager of ITQ in Germany, and together I have Daniel with me.
Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm an SXSE and working since a lot of years in the security and networking business.
Perfect, thank you. So today our topic is challenges with traditional firewall concepts. So Daniel, can you explain us what are these challenges and how can we remediate them?
Yeah, of course. So normally in a normal IT, you have always a problem. You have the business unit. The business unit wants to be as agile as possible. On the other hand, you have the security. So security wants to have the IT as secure as possible. And here's the biggest problem, because you can either be secure or you can be agile.
Sometimes very controversial.
Yeah, and so as more as you become secure, the more you lose on the agile side, or otherwise you lose security. And both options are not very good.
For sure.
So, but before we start, let's think about what if we can live without security. So there are no attackers on the world, so everybody is friendly to each other, so no problem. So let's start.
Okay.
Without a firewall, what are the benefits?
Oh, we would have less headaches, I think.
Yeah, so one of the good things is, let's do an example here. So I have a bunch of machines, so it can be an app, can be a server,
Can
can be a virtual machine, whatever you want. So if you have these machines and you need to build a new application, then you easily can say, okay, I put new machines in my data center, they're up and running, and you can directly make money with them. So, but you know it, I know it, so the world is not so easy, so we have at least some people from outside. And they would like to
Get in.
Get in.
Or consume the resources.
so
obviously.
consume the resources, but also the bad guys. They
Bad
want
intentions.
not only to consume the resources, they also want to get
harm, yeah.
hijacked machine or whatever. So this is the reason that we have at least a perimeter firewall, so
Right.
that you save your own environment from the outside world. So, but what happens if you have a machine that is vulnerable and the attacker is able to attack this machine, so he gets access to this machine? Then the firewall is blind for this traffic. Inside the data center, the attacker can do whatever he wants. So in the micro attack framework, it's well described. I only put some highlights here from the micro attack framework. So the first thing the attacker is doing, he discovers the surrounding systems.
So kind of an assessment for the attacker, what is around myself.
Yeah, and if there's no firewall inside, it's blocking the traffic. It means he can see all the machines that are running in the data center. There are a lot of tools available. And the next thing, he will try to move to the more important machines, where he maybe finds some content that is valuable for the attacker. It's named lateral movement. If he finds the right machine, then he will try to exfiltrate the data, so to make money with information he gets.
Stealing data.
Or if he's not able to find any valuable information, then he can do at least a ransomware attack.
The nice encryption stories that we hear
So
every
there
day.
are a lot of options that an attacker can do if he's inside the network. And of course, most of you know this already.
Yeah, of course. It's in the media all day long.
But before, let's go back to without a firewall. So what are the benefits? Benefits, you can really fast deploy new apps. You have non-performance issues because there's nothing in the middle that hinders you from bringing traffic from one side to another side. So you are agile. I mentioned before, you can add more machines. And the complexity is very low. So now we know this is not working. So normally you have at least some zones in your data center. And the definition of the zone is normally based on networks.
Okay.
So you have different networks. And if you roll out a new application, you must decide where can you put your application, in which security zone must it be placed. Must it be placed in the high security zone, like a database server? Or is it a public internet-facing server? Then it's going to the less secure zone.
Yeah.
So you must decide for each application, each VM, where to put in.
What if we don't find a zone?
Oh yeah, if you don't find a zone, you need to create
An additional one.
a new zone.
So create overhead, more management, more complexity at the end of the day.
And so we're trying to reduce the risk. And we're doing this with putting in more hardware, more resources. May you need more people to manage this.
Manpower, hardware, whatever it takes. So it's resource can be definitely multiplying factor.
Resource, and still inside the security zone, the machines can talk to each other without any firewall, no visibility, and there's no definition how big a security zone can be.
Yeah, right.
So this means on the one hand side, you do not resolve the risk completely, but you increase resources, you reduce your agility because it becomes more and more complex. So again, complex. And now you have a cycle. You go from risk, you try to solve this with resources, it becomes more complex.
And complex is
and complexity ends in risk.
So how can we make, or how we can get rid of this cycle actually in changing the traditional concept and really get rid of those zones and the
So let's think about a software-defined zone. Oh, let's do it also in red. Stich zones. So why not putting the firewall? So let's draw again some application VMs. Why not putting the firewall directly in front of
each service
each
or
service VM?
So the firewall is service aware and can actually know what is behind it immediately right at the spot, right?
So with this, you do not have the dependencies to any networks because this can be a transparent firewall. This is a routed firewall. This means you see each and every packet that goes to the machine or leaves the machine. And with this, you can secure each machine individually. So how can you do this? You do it normally with identifiers. Identifier can be a tag, so that you set tags to virtual machines. Or you can also say operating system, like Windows, like Linux. Or you still can use IP addresses as identifier, but you do not have dependency to the IP address. So this IP address and this IP address can be in the same subnet, but we handle this differently.
Okay, so alone these three indicators actually gives us way more capabilities in filtering and really aligning, because I think IP is the traditional way how to do these things. So when I have these identifiers or possibility of tagging, etc., how can I put this that I know that this VM can now communicate to this VM? So how do we do that?
Normally you can define based on the tag information on the operating system, you will create groups. And the groups can be maybe the business unit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now you say, okay, this machines belong to this business group, other machines belong to another business group. And you isolate directly the environment so that this business group is not able to talk to this business group. So, because why?
Based on a tag, based on an ID.
Only if it's infrastructure services, maybe Active Directory, DNS server, this will be then shared service, but this will be then another group.
So they can be members in one big subnet /20 subnet, for example, but based on ID and tag, they can be segregated. Okay.
Right. You can also define environments. So environments are normally named prod environment, test development, this kind of environments. And so
can be part of
now you can see there's a difference. So here we are siloed. And here we build a multi-dimensional firewall. So because you have not only the one dimension, you can put it however you want.
Okay,
so this can be prod, this can be dev, this is business unit 1, this is business unit 2. This machine is not able to talk to this machine because they're in different zones.
Exactly. So this actually describes the NSXT distributed firewall concept as far as I understand it. The thing here, since we have the firewall right next to the service, it can be a VM, it can be a Kubernetes cluster. You can name it actually. So it's which is really, really beneficial because the firewall is not a single firewall from a physique perspective. It is a daemon which runs in the ESXi host where this service or the VM is situated. And if a host breaks and you fail over with high availability from a cluster perspective, you have the same VM, the same container, recreated on a different host, having the same security policies attached to it right after it's being recovered. Okay, perfect.
So only to mention one last point, so because this is what also a lot of customers do. So define functions.
So this is based for the function of the service, so database, web server.
Right.
Okay. Application
This can be a web server, this can be a database server.
Okay.
And based on the functions, so a web server needs only to have HTTPS, FTP.
Right.
But the database server does not need to talk HTTP in the normal.
Yeah, for sure. So you can actually build an application together and bound application, web, and database server into one group of a function, and then they have allowed traffic. How does the firewall from NSXT in this particular case work? Is it layer 7 aware or is it layer 4 aware?
It's layer 7 aware, so we can look at the context. So we see what's going out from the machine and can define on the context what is allowed or what is not allowed.
Okay.
So in most cases, you make a combination. So you make a filter with IP with layer 4, so that you say all unnecessary traffic will be directly dropped, and only the important traffic will be looked deeper inside for layer 7 traffic.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and with this solution, you have the possibility to become agile and secure.
No worries.
At the same time, because now you can build a two-dimensional scale here.
Okay.
And this means you can easily deploy new things. You must be aware that the tags are correct, and that's it.
Okay.
And if you need new applications, you can put it wherever you want. Doesn't matter what IP network is.
Awesome. That's a really nice conclusion because I think it's understandable for everyone out there that we have here the traditional thing where we really have to add zones, micromanage everything here. And here we have the agility, like I have maybe a group where I want to add a VM or recreate a new group, which is something for a new service, and that is way faster being deployed rather than this. And it's from a complexity point of view, way easier to understand from my perspective.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel, for that explanation. And for you at home, I hope this was valuable for you and you found some interest in the topic and can adapt this to your environment. If you have questions to that, please come back to us or to VMware. We will really like to help you. And see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.